Hey there folks, and welcome to this video, and here we're going to be doing a bit of the general notice, which means that I will talk a little bit about what you're going to expect over the course of this week from this channel, and then we will get into two different headlines that I have picked out over the course of this week that I want to speak about for a moment. So let's start off with the video preview. And in terms of those videos that we've got over this weekend and the remainder of this week, we have a nice variety. So we'll have previews for the two events that are happening in terms of race weekends that I follow every single time. That's a weird way of me putting it, I'm sorry. Rally Ceredigion for the WRC in Wales, then F1, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Then for Friday and Saturday, I'm hoping for some sim racing content, potentially some stuff involving EA Sports WRC and Dirt Rally 2. And then over the course of Sunday and Monday and possibly Tuesday, when we'll get the next general notice, we'll be reviewing Rally Ceredigion, the Italian Grand Prix, and the 7500. Now, how that will spread out, I'm not so sure. Because as much as I want to get all of these out the way in as little time as possible, it might be that Ceredigion is on the Sunday, which I want to do. Monza is on the Monday, and the 7500 is on the day alongside the general notice. Just because I don't know how much time I will have on Monday to review the 7500. In terms of streams, there might be one this weekend, but there is going to be one this evening for the third round of the Motorsport UK Prototype Challenge at Road America. That one's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't actually done any practice for it yet, so that's what I'm going to do after I've recorded this. But from there on, let's get into the headlines. Let's talk a little bit about some aspects that I've seen going on. And this first one, is actually really promising. And that's because the WRC has announced the 15 successful applicants for the Beyond Rally Women's Driver Development Program. Now, this is going to be the second stage in 3, and this second stage has a 3-day training camp provided by M-Sport Poland out of Krakow. Their base is actually literally right next to the John Paul II airport. These 15 drivers will be restricted down to 3 crews who will contest the Central European Rally in October, in order to round the WRC this season. It's a bit similar to the Rally Star program that we've seen this season, the JWRC, where they picked from a crop of the fastest gamers in the world and whittled it down to, I think it was 4 or 5 in the end. I know there are 4 people who are entered into Rally Greece for the Acropolis Rally. But let's talk a little bit about these competitors, because the drivers are from a variety of different backgrounds, both in terms of where they're from, and how their career has been progressing. They represent 13 countries, with the non-European drivers representing Lebanon, Japan, and the USA. The countries that have more than one driver are Germany and Spain, which each have 2. For this competition, drivers essentially had to submit what was this kind of like CV with their racing record, as well as how they present themselves, because part of it was how would you be able to, say, work with sponsors and manage media commitment. So it was about showing their abilities both on and off of the stages. And some of these drivers do have notable four-wheel drive records, and apologies if I butcher any names. Madeline Tapper has been driving a Subaru in the ARA, so in the US, since she turned 18. This year, I believe she has 5 NA4WD class podiums, including a win on the Southern Ohio Forest Rally. Anna Jacobsen has been driving since she was 17, starting in 2020 with 2-wheel drive equipment. Then she stepped up to 4-wheel drive for the Lancer Evo, spending, I believe, the past year and a half driving a Fiesta R5. And Nuria Pons has been driving since she was 19 and spent couple of years with a DS3 R5 and a Fabia R5. I believe the youngest competitor is Alexandra Maria Teslevan, who at 18 has been competing in her native Romania for the past 2 years. And to think that she's had those 2 years of competition, she's only 18 and she's gotten to this stage, shows that she's got a lot of potential on the way up the rally ladder. Alicia Bourdais and Emma Shalvin have been driving in the Opel Corsa E-Rally Cup this season, bolstering their own impressive records in Benelux and France. Suvi Jirikainen has an impressive two-wheel drive CV, which includes her having started off with former WRC driver and well-known privateer Anthony Warmbold as her co-driver. Two drivers who have been on the list of competing in the ERC this year, Dorka Zagiva competed in a home event of Hungary, and Aoife Rafferty have talked about quite a lot on this channel. She's in her second season with Motorsport Ireland back 2008 in the ERC Juniors and ERC4. Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy with tons of entrants in Rally 4, Rally 3 and Rally 2 machinery in Ireland, obviously, but also the UK, the European scene, and even the World Rally Championship. The remaining drivers have notable records in their home countries. Joanna Hassoun also finished second in MERC4 last year, so the Middle East Rally Championship, where they had a tiebreaker in the top championship. And Mako Hirakawa has a rear-wheel drive record because I think her early event she drove a GT86. All of these drivers have impressive resumes, which is why I'm surprised there's only one seat that's going to be fully funded next year in the JWRC. Like I said earlier, the Rally Star program has 4 entrants for the JWRC finale in Greece, so why not make it that the 3 who make it to the CER will also do the JWRC? I mean, regardless of what happens, these 15 drivers have all got great potential and had a helping hand in their way up the rallying ladder simply by being invited along. Sponsorship is a big deal for young talents, and plus, even if they aren't selected, these drivers can still have fantastic careers and make it to the very top because they've been identified as stars of the future by the WRC promoter. In 2017, for example, Hyundai had a young driver program, an invitational, and the final 2 were 2 young Finnish upstarts. They picked one who delivered with great promise and overlooked another one who also had great potential but not quite the rally resume to back it up. Their choice in the end was Jari Huutonen, but the other driver did have a good run. After all, he is the 2-time World Rally Champion Carlo Rothenperä. I'll provide an update in a couple of weeks once the results are made known, but congratulations to everyone who was selected and good luck with the program with M Sport Poland. I look forward to seeing how these drivers progress and keeping an eye on some of them to see where they are in the next year or so. And from people climbing up the ladder, let's talk about a driver who might be about to take a couple of steps down. Because in F1, after an heavy shunt in FP3 caused Logan Sargeant to miss qualifying at Zandvoort, the F1 paddock's been swirling around rumours that the American driver might not even make it to the end of the season before being dropped by Williams. Sargeant is being replaced by Carlos Sainz Jr. for next year. This wasn't helped by Mercedes and Red Bull, whose team principals offered suggestions in interviews they'd be happy to lend a helping hand if so needed. Now, Williams doesn't need a helping hand in order to replace Sargeant, if that is what they have to do even. But it doesn't hurt to look at these options, and I'll link in the description below an article from the race at the 3 who, I agree, are probably the front runners. Berg have 2 drivers they could offer Williams, Mick Schumacher and Kimi Antonelli. Red Bull has Liam Lawson. Now, Antonelli, for me, is the first person to rule out. Not only does he have his F2 campaign to focus on, but if Williams are looking to take the fight to the teams that are ahead of them in constructors and get a lot of points, it doesn't make sense to field a rookie. The only way that I could see this happening is if Mercedes give Williams a very generous helping hand to do so, by which I mean to the extent that they did in 2017 when they poached Valtteri Bottas because Nico Rosberg suddenly announced his retirement. Next one to rule out, I think, is probably actually Liam Lawson. That's because Christian Horner said there needs to be a way to get him back quickly if he's needed. Now, that could be because he's their reserve driver, and any of their 4 drivers, remember Red Bull have 4 drivers because RB is also their driver and Liam Lawson's backup for both teams, could feasibly end up injured. But most cynics will say that it might be because Red Bull could still sack Sergio Perez, which should make Mick Schumacher the favourite. Got the most F1 experience, got 2 seasons under his belt. It comes with a good testing program for multiple Mercedes-powered teams. I mean, sure, he's had troubles in F1. He had a history of crashes when he was driving for Haas that are remembered in a similar way to Logan Sargeant's and ended up being one of the reasons why he was dropped by Haas. But what's the big problem is his WEC commitment with Alpine. I think it means he has to miss 2 race weekends. So unless a deal can be found elsewhere to sort that conundrum out, it's not the best solution. But I do have to say though, I do feel for Logan Sargeant. Whilst I don't like F1's rules, these are Bernie era rules, saying that you have to have 2 full-time drivers and try to get them to every single race, and that you can't have more than 4 drivers across both cars season. It would really help backmarket teams if they were able to field 1 full-time star and a bunch of up-and-comers and decent paid drivers in the second car. Like, have this level of scrutiny on you is often unheard of in F1, and especially when you're not racing for a team that has Helmut Marko behind the helm. Those are my thoughts for this video. Thank you for watching, thank you for joining, and I hope to see you around. I hope that you tune in for a couple more of the videos, or maybe a couple of the live streams over this week. Yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, from me, bye-bye for now.